Hello, in this video we will discuss about the peristaltic movement. So in the digestive system, so we will also understand about the nervous system innervation during the peristaltic movement. So here is the digestive system of the person contain oral cavity, esophagus, stomach, and there is the duodenum and small intestine, large intestine, rectum, anus and appendix as shown in the diagram. So in this way, basically, when we will eat food, so that food will, after the mastication, the swallowing process will be occur. The swallowing process go into the esophagus to stomach, and after to the duodenum, small intestine to large intestine, and rectum to anus, via a peristaltic movement. The gravity also work, but the peristaltic movement is very important, which that expel the food after the defecation, after the complete digestion to defecate. So let's begin to understand the mechanism. Here is a waves of contraction and relaxation of the circular and longitudinal muscle of the esophagus, which that move the bolus into the stomach, and in this way the circular muscle here contracts and shortening passageway ahead of food, and in this way basically the upper part will basically contract the circular muscle and relax the longitudinal muscle. In this way the food will be expelled by this mechanism, and in this way here is the longitudinal muscle contracts when, so the shortening the passageway ahead of food. But when longitudinal muscle will be relax, relax, and the circular muscle will be relaxed and the longitudinal muscle will contract, will lead to basically move, expel the food, and the sphincter remain closed here. So let's begin to understand after the opening of the cardiac sphincter. So for example, the circular muscle when contract and the longitudinal muscle will relax, so antagonistically work for the expelling of food. So here is the relaxed muscle after the expelling of food, and this is the cardiac sphincter. This sphincter opens, allowing food to enter in the stomach. After this entering into the stomach, after the opening of the cardiac sphincter. So anyhow, this is the nervous system. Basically, let's begin to understand. And first is the basic concept we should understand. This is the brain and the spinal cord, the brain stem. So the vagal nerves will really produce the, as a 10 cranial nerve 10. This is the parasympathetic nerve fiber, which that is descending, and it means the efferent motor. So it is used for the contraction and relaxation for the digestion of the food, and this will lead to action. After this, the descending efferent motor, which that basically here is the afferent ascending, carry the signal from peripheral to brain. So this is the afferent. Afferent means it will move from the peripheral to the brain, while the efferent means the descending and it will arise from the brain to the muscle as a motor neuron. So action will be occur. So let's begin to understand the mechanism. So here is the wall of the duodenum. Duodenum can be or the esophagus. So throughout the digestive system, it works. So this is the mesenteric nervous system. In this way, here is the mucosa, and this is the submucosal plexus and circular muscle and the longitudinal muscle. Between the circular muscle and longitudinal muscle, the mesenteric plexus are present. Mesenteric plexus means the nerves are present, the number of nerves, which that the number of neurons. So here is the ascending excitatory motor neuron. This ascending excitatory motor neuron, which that is longitudinal muscle, and acetylcholine neurotransmitter and the SP neurotransmitter will innervate for contraction. So it will contract. After this, here is the contraction of the circular muscle also through a ascending excitatory motor. So ascending excitatory motor nerves, which that is basically move toward the brain, and in this way here you can see this is the relaxation of circular muscle due to the descending inhibitory motor neuron. So this is the descending inhibitory motor neuron will inhibit the contraction, will lead to relaxation of the circular muscle. While this is the descending inhibitory motor neuron, this descending inhibitory motor neuron same work as a relaxation of the circular muscle, same work in the relaxation of the longitudinal muscle, but antagonistically. Let's discuss about the ascending interneuron and descending interneuron also present. This interneuron cognition and innervate for the wave like contraction and relaxation. So, in this way, it will innervate the circular muscle and longitudinal muscle ascending excitatory motor neuron for the circular muscle contraction. So, in this way, the first contraction will give the waves to contract the next uh, further. So in this way it will move the waves like. So remember, this is the intrinsic primary IPAN afferent intrinsic primary afferent neuron is known as the IPAN or IPAN. This IPAN, which that is basically innervate collectively to all nerves, the ascending and descending interneurons, while on the other hand the ascending excitatory neuron, and here is the distension due to the production of the nitric oxide, and in this the extension of the distension of the mucosa layer. So this is the eye pen also present in the submucosal plexus, which that will cognate to the secretory nervous system. So here is the secretory used for the secretion also for the digestion. So the parasympathetic innervation. So this is the parasympathetic intrinsic primary eye pen afferent. So in this way, here is the antagonistically inhibit the circular muscle and the longitudinal muscle. For example, the longitudinal muscle when contracts, so the circular muscle will be relaxed. Circular muscle when contracts, so the inhibit the longitudinal muscle contraction, and vice versa. So in this way, this is the waves which that is produced, and the ascending interneuron which that go into the brain, and after the learning from the brain will contract on the basis of the requirement. So that is the wave like contraction due to the basically is the nitric oxide neurotransmitter etc etc will produce, which that will control the myenteric nervous system. So the myenteric nervous system. Let's begin to understand the disorder in the peristalsis movement. So the disorder can be a distal esophageal spasm. This is the DES, while the hypercontractile esophagus. So shown, I am showing in the figure. You can understand. Hypercontractile esophagus mean the contraction will be more of the circular muscle. So here is the ineffective esophageal motility as well as the absent contractility, which that is the fourth stage of the disorder in the peristaltic movement. In this way, the food cannot move properly. So this is the basically is you can understand the evaluate for the underlying the gastrointestinal reflux disorder, which that after the medical therapy if the present, so yes. On the other hand, the prominent symptom if we can't find will be the symptom can lead to identify the disorder in peristalsis movement. So the dysphagia and fear, and the non cardiac chest pain, as well as this is a spastic disorder hypomobility. Hypomobility means the decrease of the mobility of the food particle. So thanks for watching. This was our bye.